Hey guys, I know it's been about 6 months and I've gotten a lot of email I haven't responded to, and I apologize for that. Just so much has happened in the last 6 months. In my last video, I think I mentioned I just got my job at Chili's, and after I got my job there, I just started working as many hours as they'd let me. And then I was still playing World of Warcraft a lot, and so I wasn't really thinking about my YouTube account. Plus, on top of that, I was planning to move back to Nebraska, but I'll get to that in a minute. In my last video, I said I would put up new updates a few days from then, so I'm going to pick up from that last point. I finished up that round, which was round 4, and I got down to 143 again. Since then, I've completed 3 complete rounds, and today I'm on the 4th round since then, so that means that I'm now on my 8th round. And so as of today, I'm in Vlcd 5 of round 8. And this morning, I weighed in at 145.5. Let me back up briefly and kind of tell you how my last 3 rounds went. I finished up round 4 sometime around May 20th, and I weighed around 143. Then I screwed up in phases 3 and 4 and got back up to around 162. Then in rounds 5 and 6, I did exactly the same thing. So my weight has fluctuated between 143 and 162 since I made my last video. Then when round 6 was over, I went to my 10-year high school reunion on July 31st. And I had gained back a few pounds, but I was so busy I don't really think I cared. And according to the people I saw at the reunion, I looked really good. But honestly, I think it was just the dress. But anyways, my main purpose of going back home wasn't the reunion. My main reason was to find a place to live and start putting things in motion for my move. So I made plans to move in with a very old friend of mine. He's someone I've known since I was 12. And I also went to the Chili's in Omaha and to see the manager and start setting up for a transfer. After the reunion, I went back to Florida, very unhappily, and gave my 2-week notice to Chili's and asked for a transfer, which was approved almost immediately since I had already set everything up in Omaha with the manager there. So 2 weeks later, I packed up my truck and moved to Omaha without my fiancé. Sadly, he chose not to come with me, and I had no choice but to end our relationship. The very first week I lived in Omaha, so many things happened. It was such a whirlwind. I moved in with my old buddy, started my new job, saw tons of old friends, and had a blast, I might mention, and started dating my high school sweetheart again, Johnny. We dated our freshman year of high school, and then after 15 years of separation, we're back together again. And around this time, I also completed my 7th round of HCG. So I moved out of my friend's house 6 weeks later, which would have been the last week of September. And it was just when I was finishing up my 7th round, and Johnny and I got ourselves a nice little house in Bellevue, Nebraska, which is a little town that we both grew up in. And Omaha's still right next door, and I can get there in 10 minutes, so I'm still close. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that I'm a completely different person than I was when I first started HCG. I went from being absolutely miserable and fat to being happier than I've ever been in my life. And it's not just from finally having my weight under control. It's also because I'm no longer suffering from homesickness and severe loneliness and depression. I also have all my friends back in my life, including Johnny. Back in Florida, I didn't have any friends. I tried, but you know how that works. This is also the perfect place for me to raise my child. I find it amusing that she's going to be attending all the same schools that I did. So it just feels like everything fell into place perfectly, and I really love my life now. But I seriously doubt I would have ever done any of this if I hadn't lost that weight. Honestly, I would have been too ashamed to show my face around this town. I wouldn't have gone to the reunion, I certainly wouldn't have moved here, and I wouldn't have started dating Johnny again. And we wouldn't be talking about the possibility of wearing my mother's size 5 wedding dress soon. So that's where I'm going with that. Speaking of which, I'm now a size 7. If you watched my first few videos, you know that I was around 18 to 20 pounds when I first started. And after this round, I'm hoping to be around a size 5 to 6. So take my word for it. If you're new to HCG and you're hesitant about trying this for the first time, please don't wait too long. Start living your life. Don't be like me and waste so many years and opportunities, because you'll never get any of it back. So anyway, about round 7. I finished up round 7 and I weighed about 143 yet again, but this time I was a lot more careful about rounds 3 and 4. I'm positive that I did it right this time because I was so much more motivated about being back home and by being back in this exciting relationship with Johnny. So I reset my hypothalamus correctly by eating no sugars or starches during phase 3. I admit I did allow an occasional indulgence, but nothing like I did my previous 3 rounds where I ate whatever I wanted. Then in phase 4, I did gain back a few pounds, but I did my correction days properly and managed to take it right back off. Then the week before I started round 8 again, which would have been the first week of November, I admit I did go a little nuts and gained back a little weight. I got back up to 151, which put me 9 pounds over my last injection weight. But since starting again on November 10th, I'm back down to 145.5, which means I'm only 2 pounds over my last injection weight from last round. I'm really excited to find out where I finish up this time. My goal is to be around 132. I might even go an extra week if that means I can take off another 3 to 5 pounds. I think it would be well worth it. I even get to enjoy Christmas this year. Last year I was in phase 2 for Christmas and it was pretty miserable. And then in round 9, which I'll do in January, I plan to finally reach my goal weight of 124, which will put my BMI at 22%. I'm sure you recall from my previous videos that I said I don't want to be stick thin. I just want to be healthy. And for my height, 124 is perfect. And I shouldn't lose my butt or my boobs if I stay around that weight. Besides, as you probably already know from reading Dr. Simeon's protocol, when your body's ready to stop losing fat, HCG won't work anymore because HCG only works on your abnormal body fat, which is your excess body fat stores. It will not cause you to lose your good fats, which is your structural fats, your fats around your organs and stuff like that. So once your abnormal fat is gone and you stop using HCG, the only way to lose weight then is to diet and exercise or starve yourself, which I don't recommend because then you'll be losing your good structural fat and you don't want that, and not to mention muscle. So to sum it up, in rounds 4, 5, and 6, I know it was all things that I did wrong. It was me that just wasn't motivated enough to do it right. I got lazy. I still insist that the HCG diet is 100% the best and pretty much the only way to lose weight. The HCG works just fine and I've never gotten immune or anything like that. I just wasn't following the protocol correctly to reset my hypothalamus properly. It's just so ridiculously important that you follow phase 3. You cannot do whatever you want in phase 3 and get away with it, no matter who you are. So now that I've done so many rounds of HCG and I've had so much success, meaning I've technically kept off around 65 pounds since I first started, I am much more relaxed because I know what I can and can't do. I know a lot of people like to follow recipes and stuff, but I'm not the type of person that has the time or the patience to cook for myself twice a day. Besides, using those recipes just leaves many opportunities to accidentally get something in there that will screw up your progress. So I just eat 2 oranges, 8 ounces of chicken, and some sauteed onions, and I also drink as much coffee as I want. And I can use unlimited amounts of stevia and half with that. And at first I was using special organic half and half from the organic market, but it was so expensive. And I've recently discovered that I can use any half and half from the grocery store that I want, and I can get away with it. As long as it only contains no carbs and 1 gram of sugar, I still lose weight. I'm not saying that you can get away with this. I'm just saying the more rounds you do, the more you know what you can and can't do. And this is what I can do. But you just have to gradually try it. I mean, every round I've tried something different, and I've found out what works and what doesn't. So, that's all I really have to say in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here.